that I always like live my life by my own drummer, right? So it's like, for me, I set up what is the life that I want first, and I protect that so strong. And then I see, okay, how can I actually be an agent with this life already? How can I be a consultant with this life already? How can I teach people about real estate with this life already? I am not giving up what I have. And I think people do everything backwards. They're like, okay, I'm going to bend and contort and do everything and work nights and weekends and like forget about my family to do this job. I'm going to be a real estate agent. And it's like, no, how can you live your life first? Because we don't know how much time we have. And then fill in all the blanks after that.
So the question is this: how do most agents succeed in today's competitive real estate market when all the successful agents are keeping the secrets to themselves? So that's the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. I interview agents from all over the world. I ask them their tactics, and they share all of their secrets with me so we can give them to the world. I'm Aaron Amuchastegui,
and welcome to Real Estate Rockstars.
Hey, Real Estate Rockstars. Aaron here with a quick commercial break. But hey, you've got to listen to this one. This one has a really, really short time offer on it. I tell you what, my friend Trevor Mock of Carrot is cooking up something super, super cool. Carrot Summit is coming up July 12th. It's a one-day virtual event for investors and agents who want to learn how to generate highly motivated, consistent leads online and how to grow and lead a team. The sessions will range from tactical breakouts on today's most effective marketing strategies like SEO, Google, AI, ChatGPT for lead gen, also to leadership topics like how 8-figure CEOs delegate. Trevor is an expert at that. If you follow him on social media, you'll see he shares so much about how he delegates and grows his huge businesses. How to avoid burnout as an entrepreneur, how to scale your team. They're going to have a wide range of experts that also come on and talk, 8-figure investors and agents, best-selling authors, industry coaches. I mean, you name it. If there's an event out there, he's doing it. But one of my favorite sessions is where you're going to learn how to train your team to profit from every single lead as a hybrid investor agent. You know, Carrot's been the authority on inbound lead generation in our industry for nearly 10 years. Trevor's team and business is one that I myself want to learn how to emulate. So join us on the summit to learn how you can build a business of freedom and impact. Go to carrot.com/rockstar for our link, or go to the show notes to grab your spot for free. All right, back to your podcast.
Welcome back to Real Estate Rockstars podcast, listeners. My name is Shelby Johnson, and you may or may not know that I'm taking over Real Estate Rockstars this week while Aaron is out of town. And therefore, I am inviting my very good friend, Zeona, to come on and freaking school us with her agent knowledge. What's up, Zeona?
All right.
Welcome.
Thank you. I mean, I just said yes to this because it's going to be so fun. I just love working with you. So any Shelby opportunities are a heck yeah.
Dude, love that. Okay, perfect. I'm going to, obviously I know you're a super badass, but just for anyone who might not know you on the internet, I'm going to kick it off with some stats.
Great.
So, Zeona, out of Boulder, Colorado, although refer nationwide, obviously, your niche is medium-term rental and short-term rental investors. Been an agent since November 2020, and since then closed 123, another one later this week, and over 33 million in volume. Casual.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like don't know. I don't know what other people are doing out there. So I'm like, that sounded like a good amount. Like
Dude,
I sent it to you with a little mind blow, and I was like, whoa, I haven't like tallied this up. Like, okay, sounds pretty good.
No, it's very, very good stats. Sometimes actually, I probably shouldn't say that. Like on our, the podcast Allie and I do, sometimes people send stats and I'm like, ooh, how can we make this no, okay. But you sound great.
Oh, well, great. I mean, if people knew how little I do, it sounds really great. That's kind of like the cool thing I want to talk about today is like, you don't have to bust your ass and be stuck at home and all these things that people think you have to do as agents.
Okay, totally. I also want to dig into that, especially since like I know personally that you are always traveling. Like you're leaving for Maui in the next, hour? Like after we're done with this.
Tomorrow.
Right?
But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then you also do the Trusted Sitters app and you're like always, at least I think like 6 months a year. Moving?
Yeah, we pet sit all the time. We're always traveling. And so, yeah, it would be really hard for me to be an agent without doing any kind of like referrals or having a team or coming up with systems. So yeah.
Okay, well, dude, let's actually just jump right into that. So I would love to talk about how you have set it up so that you are able to travel so much. Like, what does the leverage behind the scenes look like within your business?
Yeah. So, I mean, it can be really simple. So when I started as an agent, I had been an investor for like 10 years, but I didn't know anything about being an agent. And I just wanted to be like you. I just wanted to be like you and Craig. And I was like, that means building this crazy big team and all that goes along with that. But I realized very quickly that I hated having a team. I'm not a trainer. I'm not a raw manager. I think you do this a lot better than me, but even you kind of like changed away from the team model. And so what worked better for me after, about a year and a half of banging my head against the wall, trying to team it up, was just having kind of my direct referral agents. And so I realized pretty quickly that I think it was literally like deal 2 or 3 that I was like, I cannot do this all by myself. Like I definitely had a TC from the very beginning, but I knew that I wanted to have a buddy on each deal, even if that meant 50%, because that was kind of my split of what I was doing. But I figured like 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. And I can't like run myself all over the world because I'm doing investor consultations. I was doing podcasts. I'm like at my house doing stuff. I can't just pop out and run a bunch of showings. So very quickly I had to say, I want to be an agent. I want to make more money, but I cannot let this change my lifestyle. I still want to be able to travel and do all the things I'm doing. So what I have set up now, and there's better ways to do it than I'm even doing. So I want to just say that from the beginning is that I've heard from agents that they use Showami or different like showing assistant setups. And then you can just have all the showings done and then you're just doing stuff behind the scenes. I'm a little lazier than that. So I like took it another step further. So the way I do it is I do 2 agents on every deal. So if they're local, like in my Colorado area, I have designated Colorado agents that sort of take the lead and I'm more of an advisor. So I'm happy to answer questions or whatever. Sometimes I just do a straight referral and they don't hear from me. So yeah, that's kind of how I set it up.
Hey, real estate rock stars, Aaron here with a quick commercial break. But hey, you've got to listen to this one. This one has a really, really short time offer on it. I tell you what, my friend Trevor Mock of Carrot is cooking up something super, super cool. Carrot Summit is coming up July 12th. It's a one-day virtual event for investors and agents who want to learn how to generate highly motivated, consistent leads online and how to grow and lead a team. The sessions will range from tactical breakouts on today's most effective marketing strategies like SEO, Google, AI, ChatGPT for lead gen, also to leadership topics like how 8-figure CEOs delegate. Trevor is an expert at that. If you follow him on social media, you'll see he shares so much about how he delegates and grows his huge businesses. How to avoid burnout as an entrepreneur, how to scale your team. They're going to have a wide range of experts that also come on and talk, 8-figure investors and agents, best-selling authors, industry coaches. I mean, you name it. If there's an event out there, he's doing it. But one of my favorite sessions is where you're going to learn how to train your team to profit from every single lead as a hybrid investor agent. I've talked about that on here. We promote real estate agents and trying to tell people everything they need to do to get more lead gen. But one of my favorite talks at my mastermind last year was these guys that came on and said, hey, if you were only trying to go be a listing agent, then it's like you're working for tips. You've got to be that hybrid investor agent where sometimes you make offers to buy properties at the listing appointment while you're also telling them that you can list it for them. I checked out the lineup and summary. They're going to focus on lead gen, mindset, vision casting, all stuff I talk about on the pod all the time. I'm also a part of an annual mastermind Trevor puts together, and it's always one of my favorites. He definitely knows what he's doing, and him and I even grew up in the same small town in Oregon, so it's extra special to be able to promote this event for him. Carrot's been the authority on inbound lead generation in our industry for nearly 10 years. Trevor's team and business is one that I myself want to learn how to emulate. I mean, he even has a competitive business to one of mine, but he does so well, I have to respect that. So join us on the summit to learn how you can build a business of freedom and impact. Go to carrot.com/rockstar for our link, or go to the show notes to grab your spot for free. All right, back to your podcast.
Okay, so 2 agents on every deal, but you are one of the agents.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So like hypothetically, because of your book, which by the way, listeners, if you did not know, Zeona has written a book called 30 Days Stay, A Real Estate Investor's Guide to Mastering the Medium-Term Rental, which is dope and has sold over 15,000 copies. But like hypothetically, someone stumbles upon your book and they're like, I want to be just like Zeona and I want to do medium-term or short-term rentals. So they reach out to you and you act as kind of like the consultant, and then you place them with whatever location they're looking at and do a 50-50 with referral with the agent that you referred it to. Is that correct?
So it kind of depends. If they're fully out of state, like I send a lot of people to Cleveland, then I just get 25%. Sometimes my referral agents in other states will go up to 30 or 35. It's really dependent on them. But locally in Colorado, because people have the ability to be my designated agent and get all of my deals, I'm like, we're 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I've done it here. And sometimes it's just a direct, like, here's a referral. I don't want to talk to them until they're like closed. But what I do for all of my clients is that I say, hey, once you close, I'm going to give you a free hour consultation because I want you to be set up for success. And so that makes people a little more excited to work with me or anybody I refer them to because they're like, cool, I'm going to get that, one-on-one that could be all about my operations or how to furnish or, whatever I'm going to do with the property after.
Okay. Totally makes sense. And so depending on the location, depending on the client, all of that thing, that determines what referral percentage you're doing. So are you actually the agent on any of these, or like, how does that work?
Not that often. So,
Okay.
It kind of depends. Sometimes I'm shown as like the co-buying agent or like I've done some listings and then I'm the co-listing agent. But often it's like the other agent will just take the lead because it's less messy and then give me a referral and we'll just do a referral agreement. Yeah.
Okay.
We've had to refine this. It's one of those things where you're like, okay, I have a plan, new plan, you just like change it as you go. So.
Okay. It's literally life in real estate every day. It's like no plan is ever permanent. Everything's always fucking changing.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so it sounds like you have built essentially a referral business.
Yes.
Like an agent referral business, kind of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's the best way. I don't know what it's like to be an agent full time, but it sounds like not good. That's what I think.
Dope. So I want to bring it back to the marketing piece, the lead generation piece. Can you talk me through, because it sounds like, you have a decent amount of lead flow, and I know you wrote the book, but like, can you talk about your marketing plan?
Yeah, it's really simple. Basically, I have all the socials, but the big one that brings me a lot is Instagram. And when I first started in being a real estate agent, I had another friend who was an agent for like 10 years and she swore by this luxury sales coach. So I signed up and did a year with her. And she had different tiers of people. She had people that were making like 800,000 or more, or people that were in GCI and people that were doing like below that. And she let me be in both tiers. Like I paid for the higher tier, but I could still go to the lower tier. And the thing that I noticed in those classes is the main difference was, are people on socials? It was just so interesting. But while I was in the class, I was like adding people to Instagram and stuff, and everybody in the lower tier was not on or not active. And so big tip, I would say you really got to get out on socials and you have to become this kind of advisor, because all of a sudden there's this power dynamic that happens on social media, the illusion that now you're an expert. It's BS, but it works. So definitely if you're not leaning into socials, I think it's really important.
Love that. So your focus is not just on the medium-term rental, short-term rental market, but also like the luxury market.
Yeah, I think that's where I thought I wanted to go because there was a lot of money in it, but it hasn't super panned out that way. I think just because so many people know me from investments, from Bigger Pockets and a lot of the investing podcasts, it doesn't always end up being luxury. I think my average sale price is somewhere in the probably high 500s or something, because that's just kind of like entry level for condos. And then if you're out of state, it's it's just lower price points. I send a lot of people to the Midwest, and most of those properties are under 300. So I have definitely sold. My highest sale was like a 3.75 million or something, but most of my stuff is pretty lower. Yeah. I know Colorado, all of a sudden everything's a million. It's exciting here for sure.
It's very exciting for when you're selling. If you're buying, probably not so much. But okay. So on Instagram, so how did you, through the use of this coach, how did you become what you see, I guess, as an advisor? Because you have 15,000 followers on Instagram, right? Like, how did you build the profile that you do have?
Yeah, I think it was really from being on a few big publications and podcasts. So Bigger Pockets gave me a big boost, but for a long time, I didn't know what I was wanting to talk about on Instagram. Like my Instagram was like random travel pictures and like BS, and it just slowly grew over time. So I think if someone starts an Instagram now and is really intentional and clear, you can build so much faster than I did. Because for the longest time, I think I just kind of confused people about what my message even was. So now it's good and steady and whatnot. But I think that it's great if you're trying to grow to post at least once a day. You could post more than that. But even if somebody is just trying to maintain and have an online presence that feels fresh, you could really post like 3 times a week.
Question. So you mentioned for a while you didn't have the clear message. What is your clear message now? Like, who's your target audience?
That is such a Shelby question, and I hate you for it. I'm a real estate consultant. So I'm teaching people how to invest in real estate. And that looks like selling deals. So I do post deals that are like creative finance because I really believe in that structure right now. But then I'm also just putting educational stuff out there. And it's really a deal, or it's like a funnel, right? Because I have my book, I have a mastermind, like whatever things you're selling, make sure that it connects to that in some way and makes sense. Because I think a lot of times people just put something out there and it's like, what are you saying behind this thing? What are you trying to accomplish? So like at least think it through a little bit.
Hey listeners, Aaron here. I just want to tell you about something I'm super, super excited about. A couple months ago, I had a bunch of people in my office in Austin, and I taught what I called my foreclosure masterclass. It was to teach investors how to make money with distressed real estate investing through foreclosures and other sorts of leads that are out there of people that are desperate to sell or need to sell, and maybe they don't even know it yet in that process. Well, we had so much fun when everyone came to the office. So many people said they wanted to do it again. I recorded the class. It's now live and available for purchase. So if you're interested in learning about becoming an investor and learning about becoming an investor agent, being able to educate yourself some more around foreclosures, about distressed real estate, and how to get those, go to theforeclosuremasterclass.com. Theforeclosuremasterclass.com. All right, back to the podcast.
Dude, I love it. Sorry, I hit you with the Shelby question. You knew it was going to happen.
So I love it. I like secretly love it, but I was like, oh my God, Shelby, I have to think. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people struggle with those though. Like I know I did the past year where I was like, year and a half even, where I was like, dude, what do I eat? And then I didn't post at all because I was like, I don't know what I want my message to be. But there is something really powerful once you do figure out what you want to share, who you want your target audience to be, and what you want them to do. Then being able to blast that to the universe becomes a lot easier if you do have that clarity.
Yeah.
But you mentioned something really cool. You mentioned the funnel. So, okay, you have a book, you have a mastermind, you have, all the stuff that you're doing on Instagram, which attracts the people. Mm-hmm. And then from there, what do you do once they're attracted? Like, what's your next process?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Let's pretend they're an agent, like a real estate agent type of client.
Yeah. So sometimes people are less clear. So sometimes they'll message me and they're like, I need help finding a market. That's probably my number one question, is that people are looking all over the US and they have no idea and they're in analysis paralysis. And so I will generally put them on a 15-minute call with me So I sell 15 and 30-minute calls. I used to do them for free, but there's so many people that just want to pick your brain. So I do not do that anymore. So my 15-minute calls start at $79. And I tried to make it kind of like a lower entry, easy kind of call, but where people will respect you and still show up. So that works out really well because even if I don't get the referral out of it, I did make a little money for my time. So I think that's an important thing for people to consider because I think a lot of times agents just do a lot of stuff for free, hoping for a commission someday, but like make sure that you're getting paid every day because how the hell do you eat that way? You know? So that's the first step. Yeah. So important. And then from there, I do referrals. So every one of my calls, I want to have some kind of referral coming out of it. So I'm either referring them to an agent or two. I really don't allow them to get like 50 agent names or whatever, because I think people confuse themselves and then don't take action. I might refer them to a lender that I have some kind of deal with or something. I might refer them to a CPA that I also have a deal with. So how can I have a deal with everybody? You know, can it be softwares that I commonly work with and they'll give me some kind of referral fee, right? So it's really thinking through all those relationships and then trying to see how you can always be making some kind of referral fees.
Okay. Yeah, dude. Love that. The calls, I feel you so hard. Like in the beginning, everyone wants to just pick your brain.
It's the worst.
But you'll also learn that people value what they pay for. And, you know, there's the perspective of like, oh, you shouldn't charge for a call. And I do understand that perspective. But also, if there's a million tire kickers, that's a great way for you to screen your own time and also, like you said, be compensated for it. Question how when they do contact you, and are they booking direct from like Instagram? Is it a Calendly? How does that work?
Yeah, so I still handle all my DMs. There's been times when my DMs have gotten really crazy and I've thought about having somebody, but in general, it's kind of like mellow and it's fine. I try to capture as many email addresses through my DMs and I have them set up in I use KV Core because we're at EXP, but people could have different client management systems. And when people go into my client management system, it starts them on an email chain. And so it goes out, I think it's every day for a little while, and then they have different tracks. So I paid for this. You don't need it, but it is helpful because it's educational, but it's also like leading them to buy my book or leading them to book a call with me or whatever. And so if they were not sure that they wanted to actually work with me yet, that kind of gets them going down the road. So capturing emails, definitely a really good sales thing to have for later. But I also either try to get somebody on the call, or if they're super clear, I'll avoid the call altogether. I mean, of course, that would be great. So sometimes people reach out and say, hey, I just want an agent in Charlotte. And I'm like, perfect. I have over the last 3 years been building out a vetted list of people. So all over the country, it's like, as I've had to find people, I put them in my list. And so I just go, boop, boop, who's my Charlotte person? Somebody from Shelby's team. And then I send it over. So that's kind of like how that works for me. Yeah.
Okay. Totally makes sense. Question to bring it back to your campaign. You said you paid for a track. So does that mean like within like KV Core hypothetically, but it could be any CRM, you just like connected with them and had that paid them to build out a campaign for you?
It's not through KV Core. It's, because you can do campaigns in KV Core, but they're really basic. I'm not a huge fan of KV Core, but we utilize it because it's free for us. But basically, I found somebody at a conference. It was probably at FinCon when we went together. And she does campaigns for all kinds of different industries. So real estate is just one of them. And it was pricey, but I do think that having that like funnel works out really well because it's just something that now I just have set and I don't have to think about. And anytime someone new is added to my database, they're going to go through that system. So I think it's pretty valuable to have. But it happens through ConvertKit, which is like auto emails and stuff.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, those were my follow-on questions. Because like if I'm listening to this and I'm like, shit, man, I don't want to build out my own campaign. I'm curious, how much did it cost and who's the girl? You know what I mean? Give me the deets.
Okay. I don't know if I exactly remember. I think I paid like $3,800, which at the time was like, it felt like $1 million. I was like, oh my God. But there are probably cheaper people that do that, you know, but she did a great job and it feels evergreen and I can go back in there and edit them too. So like once I wrote my book, that was like before I wrote my book. So I can like add that in later. But I mean, she interviewed me and then came up with the most brilliant, hilarious, engaging emails. So it was like, wow, okay, worth it.
Yeah. Okay, next question is ConvertKit. How much does that cost? Yeah. And that's like a CRM?
No, it's an auto email thing. So like you could use something like MailChimp. And MailChimp is where I started, but they liked ConvertKit more. I think it's somewhere like $70, but I think they charge you by tier of how many email addresses you have. So for MailChimp, I think under 3,000 emails, it's free. I'm not exactly sure. But then I think once you're above that, it's like $50 a month. And if you get to like a crazy amount of emails, it's more. I'm probably sitting somewhere around 6,000 emails. But I can say confidently that between my emails and Instagram, I can almost sell anything. Like it is ridiculous. I can post a deal and I can have 20 buyers reaching out to me all over the US. So it is valuable to build these things out. It just seems kind of like
absolutely
expensive first. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. But also like, I mean, we have to, how many years have you been investing also?
Yeah, I've been investing like, I want to say 11 years. So, I mean, there's so many things that I didn't do before. And there's so many places that I think agents can spend money and they get lured into spending money, like buying leads and all kinds of junk. So I do actually think this is a worthwhile place to put your money.
Dude, totally agreed. And the reason why I was saying, how many years have you been investing? Because I was just going to make the point of like, just because you've been an agent since November of 2020 doesn't mean you're new to the real estate world and you were building out at least some of maybe those 6,000 emails beforehand. But yeah.
Hey, real estate rock stars. We only have a few minutes left in this episode, but before we get to the grand finale, I just wanted to say, as always, thank you for listening. You know, podcasts are obviously free. You don't have to pay to listen to the podcast, but if you could pay one thing, if I could charge you one thing to listen to this podcast, what I would ask you to do is go, please make a review. Go to wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's on YouTube or on Apple or Android, wherever you listen to podcasts, and go give me a review of the podcast. I read them, I listen to them, I try to make adjustments. You know, a couple years ago, I had a ton of bad reviews on the sound quality or the number of advertisements, things like that. And I've really tried to dial in to add value for all of you guys. So please go do a review. If you want to get a copy of the toolbox of the stuff that, you know, everybody that comes on the show, they give us some tactics. They give us something that we put in what we call our toolbox. And so to get that, you go to realestaterockstarsnetwork.com. When you get there, click on the toolbox and you get access to the free gift that every person that we interview on the episode provides. There's things like, you know, listing tactics, how to do a presentation, you know, how to do a newsletter, all sorts of cool, fun stuff. And if you want to talk to me, go find me on Instagram at Aaron Amuchastegui. Ask me a question. I talk to so many of you guys on there. All right, back to the show. Thanks again for being a listener.
Yeah, but I mean, you can build that fast. You can. I mean, yeah. It all depends on people's drive. Like, I am a lazy ass biatch. You know this about me. Like, I'll work and I'll hustle, but like in short spurts. And then I want to enjoy my damn life. So that's like, you know, I think if there's somebody who's like a real hustler and they wake up every day and they're David Goggins, like, you could kill that in like a month. Like, this is small potatoes.
Dude, I agree. But okay, this is great. I love it. So you have your marketing in multiple different streams. Then you have the inbound who already knows you, likes you, and trusts you, which I just did a podcast right before this with Joshua Smith from the Get Shit Done Mode podcast. And he was like, he hit me with some stat about like people have to see your face for 7 hours prior to like trusting you and all of that stuff. So anyway, these people have watched your face for 7 hours.
My God.
Yeah. And now they're in here and you get their email and you put that email into KV Core, but you also put it into ConvertKit. So that way you can continue to pummel them. Okay. Nicely, because it's you. Okay. Okay. And then, so I guess at this point, once they're ready and we've already talked about how you refer them out, you partner with another agent.
Yeah.
What other tools, systems, or leverage do you use to be able to travel and play as much as you do?
Yeah. So it kind of like, I've been going back and forth about this. I think what I really like to do is just refer it out and not be involved in the deal that much. So that's kind of like one way to go about it. But if you want to make more money, there's also that potential of saying, hey, I'm going to keep some of these deals and I'll just have a showing assistant run around for me. But what I've found is that it's not just the showings, it's all the phone calls and the back and forth, and they want to find out about this house and then this next house, and it falls out of contract. So it's really nice to have another agent in the deal, even if you're giving up 50%. So what I'm really working towards now is just more volume. I'm like, what if instead of 10% of my deals closing, and I actually do not know the percent because I'm not good at data tracking, but what if like 50% of all the referrals I sent out closed? Then could I be making, instead of 20K a month, could I be making 100K a month? Like I want that, right? So just trying to figure out over time how to improve stuff, because I'm still a baby bird, an agent baby bird.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Gosh. Question for the goal to do more volume, do you have a sketched out version of how to do that? How you plan on doing that?
No. Shelby, no. So I'm really into mindset. Okay. There's this book. Like, if you guys get nothing from this whole podcast, please go get this book. It's called Rich as Fuck. And I'm only saying that word because you said it and I'm allowed. And it is so damn good. Like, literally, I want to say that I have struggled with money psychology for majority of my life. I have definitely out-earned the problem, but anytime I have a scarce like moment or thought or month, I freak out. And so I'm like, I need to fix this part of myself. And this book is a lot about mindset, but also like manifestation and just kind of like getting yourself in the right energy. And I swear it is changing things for me. So I'm like, Shelby, there is nothing I need to do but journal more in my book and clear my energy out. That is what I need to do. Yeah.
Dude, you know what you need to do though. That's fucking awesome. And I'm going to look up that book, Rich as Fuck. And also we'll link it in the show notes. Yeah.
Yeah. And get the Audible version. Like, you have to get past the beginning because she sounds like a valley girl. But once you get past that, it's like good ass nuggets. And this chick is making like, she's doing like some $1 million months. And it's just like mind blowing to be like, whoa, could I even just do a fraction of that? Like, what is keeping me small? So I love it.
Dude, 100%. Because now I thought it was like about, you know, if you read The Psychology of Money, I kind of thought it was like that. But
I haven't. But I've heard it's good. Yeah. So I have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah. Dude, no worries at all. Okay. Is there anything that you would like to cover that we haven't talked about today?
One thing that I do is that I always like live my life by my own drummer, right? So it's like, for me, I set up what is the life that I want first, and I protect that so strong. And then I see, okay, how can I actually be an agent with this life already? How can I be a consultant with this life already? How can I teach people about real estate with this life already? I am not giving up what I have. And I think people do everything backwards. They're like, okay, I'm going to bend and contort and do everything and work nights and weekends and like forget about my family to do this job. I'm going to be a real estate agent. And it's like, no, how can you live your life first? Because we don't know how much time we have. And then fill in all the blanks after that.
Dude, yeah. Fuck yeah. Love that. I am guilty of doing it backwards. But you are
at some point.
Yeah. Okay, what can listeners do for you and where can they find you?
Oh, well, you can find me on Instagram because we're always trying to build that up, right? So at Zeona McIntyre. If they're wanting to invest out of state, like reach out. I'm happy to help. If you want to get on my referral list for agents, like, yeah, maybe we can have a little chat. I'll see if you're up to stuff. I'm very picky about the people on there. And if they mess up, I'm like, bye. But yeah, no, it's really fun for the people that have worked out. I've sent them so many clients and we've got great relationships. So it's good.
Dude, love it. And thank you for hanging out with me today. And listeners, if you want to hang out with me on Instagram, it's at The Shelby Show. And of course, your host, Erin Amuchastegui. God, I struggle with that on Instagram. So message us. We want to hear from you. Dude, it's hard. It's a tricky one. But that is it for today. So Zeona, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was so fun. And I had to think, and now I have to rework my life because Shelby said so. I mean, all that stuff.
Just a day with our conversations. Love it. But okay, Real Estate Rockstars, thank you so much for listening. See you next time.